Look, detectives combing through the hood looking for a corpse. Draco hitting, I don't think your body can endure the force. I whipped the fish up with a fucking hanger or a fork. Told that bitch, go ahead, sniff what you want, there's plenty more to snort. I had an outstanding warrant for a short. Turned myself in, rocking Louis and all my jewelry, I wore the court.
Ladies and gents, Hard to Kill, episode 109. We got Marshall in the house over at Strife17 on IG. Marshall, how we doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. I'm just, I'm taking a break from the summer train up. I've moved mostly to training younger riflemen overnight out in the desert because it's, only 120 degrees out there during the day.
No big deal, right?
Yeah, no.
So it's a specialty school, practical training for, the light infantry role, if you will.
Yeah, man, it's to be able to make civilians a little bit more practical than a sub-second draw stroke or whatever kind of crazy, 180-degree range fan stuff we're doing. Like I try to teach civilians almost exclusively, with the exception of veterans, and we try to hone in on, the fundamentals of patrolling and the 6 infantry battle drills. And I try to pile this in with the notion that we as civilians are more akin to the insurgent side of things, if we want to compare this to, COIN or anything like any other abbreviation like that. So,
okay. So what motivated you to do that, if you will? Is it just something that, always, first off, just so for my listeners, what's your background?
Okay, so yeah, that's a great one. So I myself was an Army infantryman from 2004 to 2010, and I was with 10th Mountain Infantry Division, 3rd Brigade, and I did the Korengal Valley thing on my first deployment thing. I spent 16 months total in the Korengal Valley. And then my second deployment, it was only 12 months, but I did take part in an air assault operation into a 4 square click battle space that had over 800 enemy personnel, and that was Barge Matal in Nuristan province.
Okay.
So I do have a fairly saturated infantry career. I'm not like some special guy that, is a ranger. I'm not tall and effective like that, like a ranger, bro. So
they'll love that.
That's what rangers are, bro. They're tall, effective dudes.
Don't get me going, bro.
Yeah, bro. Common denominator,
Okay. So now what makes you want to bring that to the civilian side, man? Is it just because, as we know, it's popular right now?
Yeah, and I've been teaching for about 15 years. And I've seen largely the demographic of training curriculum that takes place is so far removed from reality or curated that I know if we do it that way, I'm doing people a disservice.
Absolutely.
And right, so like this, I tried to take it the other way, and yeah, man, you're gonna spend a few days in the woods, and you're gonna be tired, and you're not gonna get a lot of sleep, because that's the investment of your time in security. At the forefront of all this stuff is security.
Comfortability out of it. Yep.
Yeah, well, and like we've got people that know how to shoot like Olympic level, but they don't know how to employ that into a situation where they need to leverage that as a control mechanism. Does that make sense?
That's not implemented enough in training nowadays. I feel like Instagram is a big thing, and staying sexy and getting the right videos, you know what I'm saying, is at the forefront of most of these things. But you're right, man. Implementing this stuff properly with exactly how it feels to be, over there and doing it, hooking and jabbing is important, man, because you're not going to get that perfect shot. You're not going to get these perfect things. It's not going to be, absolutely. Okay.
I train an engineer type, and these are one of those like really analytical guys. And I said, hey, we're going to go step in and we're going to do a little bit of CQB. Now I said, I want you to understand that I know how easily it is to get fixated how easy it is to get fixated on small detail here. And I said, so I want you to take this pretense that the shortest path between two objects is straight line, and you're going to fail. There is no right answer here. And then, so if you approach it in that mindset, you're not going to waste time analyzing 1,000 different facets to this.
Well put. Well put. Now, I'm going to back you up a little bit because I can see that you are someone that takes pride in being a good teacher, because that is very undervalued. What do you think makes you that, if you will, not just a good leader, but a good teacher, so that you're actually picking up the things that you're trying to implement?
Well, the way I've told other people is if you are able to present material in a manner that all multitudes of personality types can find digestible, then it becomes relatable and thusly retainable. And so, like, you know, if I can parallel something to the metal worker that I'm working with, or the bodybuilder that I'm working with, if I can find some degree of relatability in that material, then that is what them absorbing it is dependent on.
Well put. Well put. You know, that's something that I talk about a lot, because in the Marines, yelling is big, screaming about things is huge.
Now, I will caveat, bro, there are some dudes that want to get yelled at and
Required.
Yeah, like that's a requirement, is you have to kick the shit out of them in order to get them to retain the lesson.
Tough love, baby. I hear you.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm focusing on is actually picking up what the instructor is trying to implement, because sometimes I think that, you know, that's not really looked on enough, because you're just, as you said, a lot of these times when you're training the military, these things, you're exhausted. You just did a 10-mile ruck, or you climbed to the top of this. You've been up for 2 days. Being able to retain information through your instructor is imperative to me. Now, what are some of the things that you look at to make sure that, like, maybe your students are, you know, really retaining that? Are you going to make them break it down in front of you? Are you going to get in that trench with them to make the call with them? How do you look at that?
Well, as a leader, I can't tell people to go do some shit that I'm not willing to go do myself.
Absolutely.
And so thusly I have to demonstrate that whatever I'm asking is something that can be done, bro. Like,
I love that.
I'm 80% fucking disabled. I've walked over 3,000 fucking miles on my own 2 fucking feet, and I still have to lead dudes on a ruck. Like, I still have to show, hey man, it's possible. Yeah, bro. Otherwise, like, dudes will, because they don't see it and believe it, they will believe that the human being is not capable of performing.
Yep.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that.
And so that's a big one. And then the other facet to this, I think, is reviewing training in depth. Now, like, I always preface these reviews with things that went well. So it's a good icebreaker into this. It's a positive icebreaker. And I work with dogs too, bro. Like, if I only ever gave my dog negative reinforcement, that dog would be fucking work. Yeah, bro, you got to find balance, man.
Facts. Well put. Okay. So now, what year did you say you got out again?
2010.
2010. Okay. So now we live in a crazy time, man. A lot of things have gone on that's molded the military of today. Now, being a ground pounder from the GWOT era, being someone that went over to the sandbox, implemented in a lot of the things that you're bringing back and teaching in a classroom environment, what are some of the things that you think maybe are falling short in maybe a line company of today, maybe an infantry battalion that, you know, a lot of guys haven't been over to the sandbox. They haven't experienced round snapping over their head. They haven't actually smelt fear. They haven't really been exhausted while having to engage in a firefight just to survive. Do you think that some of those things are imperative to, you know, have as maybe in an instructor role to, like, you know, push to these guys so they understand what they're in for? Or do you think that's something that, like, you know, maybe the first wave that deploys to a combat theater, you know, they always get kind of fucked up first and have to adjust their TTPs for what they're seeing? I know that was kind of like a multifaceted question, but how do you feel about that?
And so, like, when you came up in the Corps, your instructors, the most highly valued instructors were those with combat experience, right? Okay, so we saw the Secret Service agent that was fumbling, even returning things. Do you think at Firefight 400 in my fucking life I had a fucking problem like that? No, because my brain was wired to the fucking environment, my friend.
Click, click, boom. I hear you, brother.
Yeah. And so like, while I can't replicate like this rewiring, like I do think, you know, the training being rooted or taught by somebody who has their feet planted in fucking reality,
Absolutely,
it is extremely pivotal, man. I'm not saying that you have to have combat experience in order to teach firearms, but you can't stick feathers up your ass and call yourself a fucking chicken if you haven't done time in the fucking trenches, bro.
talk about it.
Right. And so, yeah, man. And like, if you want to look at this whole Secret Service fiasco that we just saw, bro, like that was complete faculty shutdown on.
So let's slow down real quick and really like get an outside perspective of this. Now, what are we dealing with here? We got an HVI, a high value individual that's in the middle of all this speaking. Okay. So to me, in any situation like that, when you have a big dog that's coming in that needs protection, as a Secret Service or any protective element,
right?
We're doing an inner cordon, we're doing an outer cordon. Outer cordon is touching every elevated position in a line of sight perspective. I mean, to me, dude, there's just so many things that fell short. But honestly, from your view, what are the main things that blare out at you in that?
Like how the fuck did anybody within a quarter mile get at a fucking elevation above the president's head without being fucking spotted? These are principles in security, and if a dude was annotated going up above said elevation, why the fuck were personnel not dispatched? That's common sense, bro. I don't even work in fucking executive protection. I've hunted dudes in the fucking mountains. That's it. But I just, holy fuck, man.
No, but you're right. This is something that's known with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know this.
Well, and so here's where it's starting to go, bro, is you're starting to run into people in all reaches of federal employment where they have to sword and shield. You know what I'm saying? And no effort is put towards being geared towards that. There's no proactivity.
A lot of these departments do training falls short a lot of the times. It's just a check in the box. It's just that, you know, that guy that wants to just get it done and it gets blown over. Now, do you think this is, this is just my opinion. I'm trying to do an outside perspective. Is this, I mean, everyone's talking about it. Is it a diversity hire that's getting, you know, put in a position where someone that should be well versed in that?
Yeah, this is the same as Ranger School, the same as the Marine Corps. Everybody, all these line infantry units and these SOCOM units have had problems with their criteria being watered down in order to accommodate DEI. Now,
this is a tough one, bro, but we've got to have these conversations. They need to happen.
I remember I was at a forward operating base one day, and I got up a little bit early because I needed to make sure my gun trucks were PMCS and good to go before the next mission, right? And I walked into my squad's hooch, and I could find nobody except for my team leaders who were still asleep. That was the weirder part. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck? And I look over at the trucks. They're not at the fucking trucks. They had replaced a really big hood Staff Sergeant Cook on our outpost with a female PFC. And every member of that platoon that was lower enlisted was over there voluntarily doing KP duty, bro. And right, so like, yeah, you know where I stand on this whole shit, my man. I don't like dealing with female cops because I know I'm fucking scary.
Now, just so we can't get pointed at to say we're over here being misogynistic. Let's explain this real quick, because there's things that, now, for instance, the example I'm going to use, towards the end of my Marine Corps career, I was doing ranges for a lot of like the supply units, for a lot of the guys that didn't have a lot of time on crew serves and on stuff like that.
Yeah.
Seeing these people that have not touched these weapons in a long time, or just don't have trigger time on them, don't have the reps like you would in a gym, It is scary, bro.
Bro,
Scary.
it don't even take a weapon. How many Pogue NCOs you see get lost and die on the land nav course? Holy fuck.
We're talking land nav.
Yeah, bro. Like, so, or, like, yeah, it might, look, bro, I think the criteria might have been watered down recently, but I think it's been down.
It's been happening.
Yeah, it's been down for a long time. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab another tall can, bro.
And that's just us calling a spade, dude. Like, I'm not over here just hating. Like, listen, I've had a lot of badass females. I've seen them. They're there. And I'm not trying to just say that it's not possible.
No, I just saying, well, like, okay, so criteria is more easily met when you have
I can't see you, brother. Move your camera.
Oh, shit. This thing follows me around the room. If it'll lock back on my face. All right. Criteria is more easily met, the more limited the scope of your applicants are, right? And so if they all fall closer in physical fucking criteria, then you're able to have a higher fucking standard. Like, no shit, you should be fucking selective about, right, because we're only as strong as our weakest link.
Facts.
Right. So why would you voluntarily take on weak links? I don't know, bro. Like, our society, not military, is so curated that they're appealing to things that are far different from what World War II appealed to what Korea appealed to, and all that stuff.
Has society ever dictated things like this?
Society exists because this shit wasn't watered down. That's the only reason society exists.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a real fact, actually.
Yeah, like, they say the thin veil, but like, goddamn, bro, it like really be.
And it's something that needs to get talked about because, listen, these kinetic positions, we're not just over here talking about this shit because we're fucking fans of, Call of Duty and shit. People die. Things happen when rounds start cracking, guys. You need to have people in these positions that understand, that don't freeze up, that know when to hit the dirt, that know when to move. Listen, this is not Rambo, okay? We're not over here looking to pick a fight. You need to get the fuck out of the kill zone at all times. When you don't know what's going on, regroup, figure out where they're at, and then counterattack. You can't just be this fucking hero figure all the time. That's not how it works.
No, man. And like, I try to approximate to people. I say, man, whatever the mission was that I got, or whatever the fucking patrol was that I got tasked with, and it took contact, it was 3 fucking times worse than the original. So like a 13 kilometer patrol all of a sudden turned in to fucking 40. And that was just a gradual downhill slope. The second we took first contact, we killed 2 guys on a rooftop. Now you have to go do a BDA. You're going to come back, and then some contact happens. And then all of a sudden somebody's missing ammo somewhere, and you're the only guy that can bring it halfway up a mountain to them. And
These
so
are real things.
yeah, bro, it's 3 times. It's always 3 times as worse, big dog.
Now that kind of surprised me over there, dude, because I had never taken contact like I did in Afghanistan before, and to see how quickly these guys adapted to certain things and implemented them in the way that they would. I mean, let's be real. They're hunting human beings. That's what's going on over there. That is what's happening. And when you actually, like, if some people aren't even on that level of being cognizant of that, when you realize that you're walking into something, let me tell you, it's not a good feeling, and that happened often over there.
Dude, that we were, for the first few weeks, we rented out a warlord's compound in the Waziristan district, and it was cush, man. We had a battalion size AO, whatever. We took contact there sporadically, and then they were like, hey, some Marines are having some problems up in this valley in Kunar province. And we were like, all right, not a big deal. And then we get in there, first 2 days, lose 4 team leaders.
Wow.
Permanently. Yeah, bro. Like, and then 3 other.
Real quick, stop on that real quick. Talk to me about what it's like losing a team leader. Not only just 1, 4. Talk to me about what that does to the morale of the it's a real thing. When you're losing a leadership position, what happens is everyone gets this just steely feeling in the stomach. It's like, oh
it's
shit,
like, dude, this ship is going down, bro. Like, that's what that feels like, is this battleship is fucking sinking, dude. And I found myself a 115-pound M240 machine gunner / weapons squad leader, because that many people. I was a Spec 4 weapons squad leader, bro. Every NCO in the platoon got fucking wounded or killed.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
And
okay.
yeah, like, so, like, holy fuck, like, that's why I mean, it's gonna be 3 times worse.
So now, I've recently just watched Restrepo. Actually, talk to me about, is this a similar AO that you were dealing with?
So Restrepo and Korengal, those are the units that relieved us.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. So if they had ever talked shit, and like, I understand an individual unit.
It always happens, dude.
Hey, yeah, bro. Like, I get it. So, like, I'm not like being like animosity towards this or anything like that. But yeah, that was about right. They fucking jumped straight into a meat grinder, bro. And it was kind of one of those things. They showed up and we're like, all right, we're going on a patrol. And at this point, I'm able to levitate up a mountain at 21,000 feet, whatever.
Been doing it.
But yeah, and one of their guys like passed out and shit their pants. And yeah, bro.
They weren't conditioned for it. Gotcha.
Yeah, right. And
I mean, who can be, dude? That's different. That's a different type of condition right there.
Bro, they tried to make us march around Bagram, and they're like, all right, you're going to condition yourselves to the altitude. That didn't make a fuck difference, bro. That didn't make a shit of difference.
Absolutely not. So tell me this, man. Tell me about the Taliban in your AO. That's different type of, that's a different type of fighter right there, my friend.
Not always. So they had their own language called Korengali. Right.
Like a Pashtun dialect?
We could only find 2 Korengali speaking interpreters in theater.
Wow.
Right.
And let's preface on how difficult it is to find a savvy Terp.
Right, like one that's worth a fucking shit.
When the rounds start cracking, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And so we weren't always fighting local dudes either. We would hear Chechen.
Wow.
Right, and then smoke check dudes, white dudes with red hair, like that kind of fucking. That stuff has happened there. It was such a.
Is that like an old Mooj element?
I believe it is really mercenaries.
These guys have been fighting. This is
right.
We're talking about back when Russia was.
I mean, obviously, if you're going to hire somebody to do a certain job, you're going to hire somebody with previous experience, right? Right. And so that was my whole thing with it, and I definitely knew that like this was a pivotal enough spot in Kunar province that they would send out of town shooters too.
How did you remain effective against an enemy like that, bro? That must have been. That hits you hard when you realize when you're first dealing with, bro, because it came out and touches you. You know, when you're on our side, listen, we always go into a situation we think we got the advantage. We're the home team. You know what I'm saying? We're running around in up armored Vics over here, bro. We got 50 cals chirping and marks. You know what I'm saying? But when you realize when they come up and touch you with that shit, it's a different type of feeling.
Yeah, bro. I've had to defend a perimeter assault one time in my life.
Wow.
Where I've had to blow claymores and
damn, holy shit.
like it's popping off, bro. And I've done all that, and I will still tell you that I'll take being dismounted in the mountains over riding around in any sort of Vic all fucking day.
Yeah, why? Because you're trapped into a.
I've got to say in the fucking matter.
Facts.
I've got to say in the matter. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now. Listen, talk to me about the things that are important in an environment like that. Really, really, really break it down for us. How do you remain cognizant? How can you remain? Because when that fog of war sinks in and everything starts getting slow, and you know what I'm talking about. What snapped you in and what kept you in the moment in something like that? What are the things you focused on? Shit
became different once I found myself in a position of responsibility. I was no longer afforded the means or the ability to feel sorry for myself quite the way that I did. And so it's just a matter, and if we know that security is always the number one priority, like we got everything to act off of, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, bro.
What are some of the common things that you saw in your guys that maybe at first was a form of complacency?
Man, they had, before we went into Barge Matal, when I came back on a second deployment as a line squad leader, and we went into Barge Matal, we had done quite a few patrols. We had shot a few people, but it was nothing. It was not like against all odds, motherfucker type shit. Right. And I remember like dudes that had been hard all fucking year, we're standing on the LZ at fucking 2 a.m. and the FSNCO for the entire fucking battalion is like giving us a prep speech. He's like, check it out. He's like, man, you are entering a target rich environment. Dudes start getting real fucking quiet once that shit is said. Right. And then they start saying shit like weapons free. And they're like, oh my God. Like, and somebody's like, Sergeant Williams, are we going to take fire coming in? And I'm like, yeah, probably, bro. Yeah, like that's why the fuck we're drilling, getting the fuck off this bird. Is in case the fuck it burns to the ground on the spot.
I've never experienced something like that right there, dealing with air that you need to get guys in, drop on a safe LZ, remain effective, remain caught. That's a lot to deal with, bro. Calling out like, things like.
Yeah, bro. Like it was kind of, it was wild. It was a 100-kilometer leg to the LZ, and before we even touched down, I smelled like a really familiar smell, and it was the smell of the corn ball.
Damn. And
I was like, oh my God, this is what the fuck it's gonna be, bro. Like, I already, just that smell. I already knew what the fuck was gonna happen, bro. So like, I already knew.
As a squad leader, dropping into a hot LZ like that, how do working with an officer in an environment like that? How do you remain calm, cool, collective, being able to preface information back and forth so he can be effective? Actually, real quick, what does leadership mean to you, especially in an environment like that?
If you will not provide me sound commissioned leadership, I will see to you fired before the next patrol.
100%. You're not going to take my guy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, bro. I was a maneuver element for basically the battalion. If I say a dude is no fucking good, he's no fucking good. If I say he doesn't fucking listen to me, he doesn't fucking listen to me.
Do you see? Was that common, bro? Did you have some savvy guys?
Not really, bro. But I also worked really hard for my position. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like so. I don't know where
you weren't just put there. You earned it.
I think I must have. I think I must have. Unless everybody in the platoon got killed and I didn't. No, I'm just kidding. That was a fucked up joke. I shouldn't have made that. But
there's some dark motherfuckers, bro. Sometimes you gotta laugh. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So you really put it down for a little bit, brother. Now. How do you come out of an environment like that and just click back in, man?
Well,
I mean, when you hit a fucking adrenaline dump like that, bro, and you feel 20 pounds fucking drip off your body, you know what I'm saying? Like, coming from an environment like that when you're stuck in fourth gear, how do you come home and not get looked at like Jeffrey Dahmer? You know what I'm saying? How do you click back in?
Well, it's why I teach now. Is the only way I could. Yeah, it's the only way I could fucking fit in, man. Like, and you know what? It's funny that you mentioned the Jeffrey Dahmer thing. Like, is a lot of people in my life, when they want to make me feel like shit, they'll treat me like a fucking serial killer, bro.
Listen. Let's
Yeah, well, check it out though. When I start acting like a fucking serial killer, people quit fucking around, you know?
Listen. It was legal when we were doing it, so I guess it's not the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just a state guy, bro. You know what I'm saying?
So now, when you're teaching this stuff, man, does it come out in you because it means something to you? Like these aren't just, you know, tools of the trade. Someone died over that thing over there. You know what I mean? Like,
what it means to me is even if some catalyzing event does not happen in our lifetime, teaching people who value it, it lasts generations,
goes a long
bro.
way.
Yeah, bro. And it, like, so even if that's just the case where all I've done is pass this on to the next generation, I feel that the second we lose these things, we're done, bro. We're subjugated.
That's when the things start circling, the vultures start circling.
Yeah, bro.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's it. That's the end of the road. If this shit is lost to the ages, we're never gonna get it again.
You know, I was just talking about this. I still have friends that are in that, you know, staying in for the long haul, and they're, you know, higher enlisted now. And to me, I don't know how you feel about this, man, but I worry about our combat effectiveness, being that we've been kind of removed for a little bit. And I don't know how much the COVID restrictions kind of pushed out the rest of the wolves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Bro, let's not even combat effectiveness. Let's talk about human effectiveness. Because you and I both know 70% of the world is out here blaming somebody else for the shit that they fucking created in their life.
Oh, you're talking about accountability, because I don't see that. Does that irritate you? Because I find a lot of times I clash with people over that, dude. And it blows my mind that I constantly am dealing with people that cannot be accountable. They'll gaslight you for being accountable and try to brain fuck you into thinking like that's a bad thing. And
right.
I see it a lot, man. And I didn't even realize I was dealing with that for a while. I thought actually I was just being a hard on.
It takes separation to see what the fuck you're dealing with.
It does.
And like, here's the thing, bro, is all of these people, and myself included, these are learned behaviors. And so it doesn't mean that, like, it actually counters the notion that the generation before us was just so squeaky clean, fucking accountable, and fucking not addressing toxic mechanisms. Yeah,
you're right.
Like, bro, like our grandparents were toxic as fuck.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
we don't. That conversation doesn't happen a lot, man. You know, a lot of people haven't had that. I've just started talking about that because I kind of like connected a lot of dots.
Yeah,
because I kind of looked at them in that light for a while, bro. Because you know, I have my mentors, I have who I came from, but when you get to a certain age, a lot of things clear up for you. And
dude,
you start.
That was the last 3 years. I'm like, oh, what is this place that I now understand? Like, I was like, holy fucking shit. I wish I got this shit 10 years ago, bro.
I can understand how that means so much now, because I would hear people saying that all the time. I wish I had this 5 years ago. I wish I had this 10, but it means something, man. It really
it does, dude. I could have saved myself a fuck ton of heartbreak, fuck ton of fucking
so true,
hard
dude.
times, a fuck ton of fucking investing in the wrong people too. You know,
that's that. You know, I didn't realize how much that really sets you back, dude. When you really just see more in someone than they see in themselves, and you think that you can bring it out in them, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it backfires on you after like a couple years trying.
Yeah, it's like being an artist and having a vision for a piece, but instead of a canvas, you have a fucking trash bag and a stick to work with.
Yep.
Like, that's it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Okay. So talk to me about a little bit more about what you're doing, brother. Where do you want to take it? Where do you think it can go? Or is this just something that like you enjoy and you want to fucking try to pass on the knowledge a little bit to a few select individuals?
Yeah, man. I have got all the time in the world to teach people who have time to be a student. And so current projects, it's kind of wild. It's off the wall. I bought a school bus, and I've been working on converting that into, for lack of better terminology, a mobile training facility.
That's dope.
Right. Like, so I've got my house, because what I've traditionally done is I travel all over the country and teach privately. Right. Like, so I don't really do open enrollment and I don't do the public range thing. I teach privately. and on private property. And a lot of times I've driven from Maryland to Idaho before.
Damn.
Right. Like, and so doing that more comfortably and being able to bring more equipment and my dogs and everything like that. So yeah, I'm turning a school bus into a big black training facility on wheels. So
That's fucking sweet, dude. Okay.
yeah.
No, dude, I'll talk to you offline about this, but I just recently took a new gig with a contract company, and I've been trying to find the right person just to implement training
Yeah.
with the right things. Is that something you'd be open to? Maybe trying?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
and that's the whole point with the bus is like, okay, we've got a fucking 2 week or 3 week workup. Like, I can do that.
Gotcha.
Like, I have the means to fucking do that. And that's the whole point behind it, bro.
Okay. Talk to me about bringing dogs into the light infantry role.
Okay, so this is something that I've been taking a swing at since I got my dog. I was ushered into the working dog world by some gentlemen out in Kentucky, Harmon Leatherworks, who works with Recon Canine and Kill-ep109 Dog Club, and they're Marine field MPs.
Okay.
They're not infantrymen, so they contracted me for about 3 sessions, and then I ended up getting a dog from them. And as far as the 4-man fire team goes, the team leader will be in maneuver with a dog and handler, while an auto rifle is on SBF, along with a rifleman. Now that rifleman can, he can go with the maneuver element, if so to speak, or he can stay with the support by fire. Now, what we're getting into with these dogs, and I will say the people who are at the forefront of working dogs like this, being a war dog, not a police canine, because war dogs are embedded with. Right, the war dogs like World War II were embedded with their infantry units for weeks on end. They didn't get to escape as per company policy to a nice air-conditioned fucking deal. They're in combat. And so the Israelis right now are currently the only people in the world operating dogs this way.
Really?
And so, right, so that's kind of actually like what I'm going off of here. But man, I've had a million people since I got a dog come to me and say they want a dog and say they fucking got the time and the fucking and the money and the fucking and holy shit, bro.
Yeah, I get
it. Like I can barely handle this fucking dog, dude. Like I'm just saying, it's not as easy as people think.
Takes a lot.
They haven't done it before.
Gotcha. You kind of preface it right there, man. Being in a position of GWOT veteran, especially being from some of the savvy elements that you come from, what does the engagement over in Ukraine mean to you? Because I think a lot of us are taking a look at this and seeing how they're implementing drones into the infantry role and being extremely effective. And when I say that, I think taking tanks out of the Marines means a whole new thing to me now, because they are getting fucking decimated over there by fucking ordnance off these fucking drones, man.
Yeah.
And honestly, just the whole way they're fighting over there, trench warfare with advanced weaponry is something of a spectacle, to say the least. And I don't mean to say that like a snob, but just to see the effectiveness and the absolute just.
Well, I'm glad you were. I'm glad you were cautious in how you quantified this, because I've had a lot of people express how terrifying it is. Now, if we look at the fucking Secret Service as an example of how inept most people are with regard to these types of environments, that same horrifying thing is just as much of a leverage to you in your hands. Like, there's zero reason to be this scared of it. This is just an advancement in warfare. It would probably, I think it would be considered the 6th evolution of warfare.
Yes.
In total, as I understand it. And it's basically a reversion back to World War I with drones and Wi-Fi and TikTok. And that's it, man. So I think it makes, while it makes warfare extremely more complex and more difficult to handle, it also leverages the odds in the small civilian teams favor in that sense, because now I have eyes in the sky where I didn't have before. I've got all these things now. I've got 3D printed drone detectors that are, I don't know if you saw those, like they have, like the Russians have a helmet mounted drone detector, and if it detects an enemy drone anywhere within a half a kilometer, it vibrates, and so you feel that
no, I
shit.
didn't. Okay.
Right.
I mean, the only drone defeat, if you will, I've been seeing shotguns and what, maybe if they have some kind of EMP element, if I don't even know if that
Yeah,
exists.
but like if you hear a drone, chances are it's already too late. And the
Facts.
shotgun thing is probably applicable to about 5% of circumstances most of the time. I'm not saying there's not a reason to do that, but I would say the electronic emission counters, as well as, just not being in a fucking stupid spot.
Facts.
Right, gregariously fucking exposed. I think
Yep.
those things will do wonders.
That means a lot to you, doesn't it? Being in the right spot at the right time.
It does.
Yeah, it
The
does.
easiest way to not be shot is not be a target. So,
Facts.
and so on that note, these dudes invest their entire personalities or attach their entire personalities to X weapon, and you and I both know that a dude will drop a PKM in order to avoid being shot.
Bam. Talk about it. You're so true. So true.
Right. Like, and so, man, I think we're not at that level of awareness yet as Americans in fighting wars.
True. Now, okay. What do you think if you were to talk to a young infantryman of today that's maybe looking at the horizon, maybe seeing China, maybe seeing some, other AO in a possible next 5-year engagement? What do you talk to the NCOs right now? Talk to these young guys that might actually be in a position that need to start thinking that way. What should they be thinking of, and what should they be implementing into their game, that instead of going out and fucking and trying to find broads and trying to fucking drink on the weekends and knock somebody out in the smoke pit, what's something that they could be proactive with and try to put in their toolbox that, would be in their best interest going forward?
Man, a lot of the ethics and values that you and I knew in the day, while those ethics and values are different even from our generation that preceded us, they're just as important as ever.
Very true.
Servant leadership wasn't a fucking joke, bro. And like that whole thing can do leaps and bounds beyond any singular thing about drones or technology or weapons or the latest and greatest small unit tactic. None of that is gonna be fucking outshined by, or none of that can outshine effective servant leadership.
I agree. So really, the little things. You're talking about just the things that matter, that maybe get overlooked for a sexy weapon or maybe a nice flak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, you tell me how much of a problem consumerism is today.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Narcissism, and it's like, oh, well, like I had a dude on one of my posts about the automatic rifleman role. He was like, that's not a machine gun, get a machine gun. I go and look, and this dude is a civilian employee of Custom Night Vision, and he, you're probably gonna have to edit that fucking name out, but either way, like, he's got dual tubes and a belt fed, and I'm like, God damn it, bro.
He thinks his 203 is an MVG holder, one of those?
Yeah, like, and he's like, that's not a machine gun. He's like, I guess I'm just a sucker for details. And I said, no, you're a sucker for buying social approval via a belt-fed machine gun, buddy.
Back when we were in, man, those were the gear queers. Those were the guys that came to the sandbox with all clean new shit.
Well,
they're in there for 2 months and it's stripped away, bro. It's gone.
The fact that this dude is even critiquing our equipment tells me he doesn't know shit about doctrine. So you mean to tell me you spent $25,000 fucking dollars on a saw and you still don't know how to use it? Like, you should extra know how to use it, bro.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's actually a thing to talk about real quick. What do you think about? Have you seen that new saw that's coming out? I think Sig's behind it. I think it's considerably lighter, but it has the larger round, I believe.
Is it the Reaper from Ohio Ordnance?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got that thing is bad.
Yeah?
Because all you got to do is hit a switch and it's a sniper rifle, bro.
Oh shit. Okay, it's like that.
Yeah,
Like a single shot like that. Okay.
Yeah, like, and as far as I know, if I'm recalling correctly, that machine gun, it loads differently. Like the feed tray doesn't open up to the top and force you to like expose your head or anything like that. Right, it's a little bit different, man. It's kind of almost akin to like the auto rifle DMR, with a belt, with a belt feed in 338.
What's your EDC on maybe just like practical light infantry role of today? Maybe you're dealing with like a 10-mile back and forth, and you got some inclines. What are you rocking with?
I'm glad you mentioned this because it gives me a chance to. So I have internal SOPs for all the people that train with me, and every single member of a fire team, including dog handlers, all carry auto rifles.
Really?
Right, like chrome line barrels with
talk to me about the whys.
Okay, so, well, let's picture if you've got 3 dudes with 900 rounds of 5.56 and an M16, and your 4th guy has a 10-inch barrel and 3 magazines.
I hear you. I got you.
Right.
Okay.
It lopsides it so much that that it's actually a waste. And if you take all of those dudes and they all have that same extremely capable weapon, anybody can be support by fire. Anybody can be the nearest maneuver element. It's now dictated by position.
Gotcha.
So, yes, it is a heavier weapon that I fucking carry on patrol, but it is the most capable weapon. And so, thusly, I don't have to worry about being the weak link in any of it, equipment-wise.
That makes complete sense, actually. I don't think the weight indifference of carrying rounds really gets talked about enough, and it really doesn't even get thought of enough because a lot of these guys that are teaching, these tactics and talking about this stuff on Instagram have not actually been in the role. So
I had a guy look at my SOPs, and he said there's over 900 rounds of 5.56 on this SOP, and he said that you're talking about like. And he was some internet kid, and he was like, "You're talking about like going to the supply truck, right?" And I'm like, "What supply truck are you talking about, bro?"
Four wheels ain't coming out here, brother.
Yeah, bro, eat your Wheaties.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you coming by, and if I'd love to talk to you again. But if you were to leave us with something, man. Being where you come from, what you've been teaching, being most of the people that watch this are GWOT vets, guys that are still in. Why don't you talk to my people real quick about, how you feel about maybe what's happening today, how you feel about what you went through in life, and how you think maybe the veteran community could maybe be more effective in some of the morals that are falling off in today, if you will, if you don't mind.
Well, what do we always say within training? Those fundamentals carry a lot further if we focus on them more, right? And we focus on the things that we can control, not the what ifs, not what the fucking media shows us, not what. Every time there's a fucking draft threat, I fucking get texts from dudes. Oh my god, what about draft? And I'm like, well, then go then, go. Like, I'm kidding, but. But yeah, no, man, stick to the craft and stick to teaching people that are teachable, not your fucking idiot buddies that have a fucking competitive fucking interest against, right? Like anything you fucking say that's supposed to be for their benefit, bro.
Well said.
You got to focus on the shit that you can control. And like I don't get stirred up by news articles or anything like that. Like the more you focus on this shit, the more divide you're gonna find between yourself and your fucking peers.
There you go. So you're talking about actually live in the real world.
Live in the fucking real world, yes. I don't want to use that go out and touch grass fucking shit. That shit's played out. But yeah, be actively engaged in the real world and not fucking doom scrolling all your shit away. You've got enterprises to run. You've got endeavors to take care of, bro. Get out there. You ain't gonna do that doom scrolling.
There you go. There you have it. Where can my guys find you at, bro?
Okay, so Instagram, Strive17, all one word, and then I've got a YouTube channel that is StrifeXVII, and I mean that's about it. I've got a
Some guys want to do some training with you, bro. Just follow you on the gram.
Are you Northeast? You are? Well, when I get up that way, let's link up and we'll bust a few caps.
Roger that. Sounds good.
I'm probably going to start a circuit up that way in the bus probably next year before summer starts. So
sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, man.
Well, Marshall, keep your head low, brother. You heard him. Strife17, Hard to Kill, episode 109, out.
Thanks, bro.
Take it easy, brother.